Hi, welcome back to reading. Hi, welcome back to Reading with Money. I'm Money, and today I'm doing a hybrid video. I've been kind of sick, like fighting a cold for all month, like ever since I filmed that TBR video, I think for March. I've been fighting a cold. It's been not good. My reading also has not been very good. So anyway, I thought that today, since I finally feel well enough to be able to talk for a while. Hold on, I'm going to close this window because there's noise outside. My neighbors just started talking. I think I can still hear them. And the dog. And my cat trying to displace my tripod. Thank you. Anyway, let's see if we can get through this. I forgot what I was saying. Oh, right. I was thinking that I could do first quarter words. First quarter of the year recap, wrap up video, and then also tell you about my plans for April, because I'm participating in a couple of things like most people are, and yeah, I have a few things to determine still, so I'll just talk at you, right? Anyway, I have my journal here. It's this Art Journal beautiful release from last year. I love it. I've seen many people use this as a reading journal, and yes, I think we all thought the same when we saw it. It's just great. Anyway, I have here the list of books I've read, and so I can tell you my ratings and everything, because I may forget. So let's get into it, shall we? So in January, I first read The Last Murder at the End of the World by Stuart Turton. I loved this book. It hasn't been getting very good reviews lately. I think it came out last year, and I've been excited to read it ever since, because I have read his other two books, The Seven Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle and The Devil in the Dark Water. I loved both of those. I actually think this one is my favorite. I cannot really tell you what it's about, though. It's science fiction-y, dystopian-y. Basically, we have this group of people living in some sort of island, and there's like a deathly mist out there. So they have to stay in the island, and there's like a border around the island that some scientists created to stop. But they're basically like the last people on Earth. And well, there's a murder. And then, yes, I can't really explain it. So it's kind of like a mystery, but also there's a twist hidden in there somewhere. So it's also, and it's very science fiction-y, and like any good science fiction story does. Was that a sentence? Anyway, like all good science fiction stories do, there we go. It explores like what it is to be human, that kind of question, and I always love that. So 5 stars from me, loved it. Then I reread, hold on, I have it here. I reread The Mars House by Natasha Pulley. If you're new here, Natasha Pulley is one of my favorite authors, at least contemporary authors. And I read this last year in March, and I couldn't wait a whole year to reread this. I actually read it like alongside my best friend. We both decided to we had to reread it now that we had the physical copy. Look at it. It's so beautiful. This one is also science fiction, as The Mars House and the cover might tell you. And it's about this colony on Mars, and we follow January, who is a refugee from Earth. Earth is flooded, and so he gets to Mars, to the colony, and well, immigrants from Earth can't do the same jobs as Martians. Martians have been there for Earth people, the first colonists from Earth came to Mars like 7 generations ago, and they have done things to their body so they can adapt to the gravity and the atmosphere there. I say atmosphere. Anyway, and so January, gets involved in this whole political thing. He gets into an arranged marriage with one of the candidates for the Senate. Senate? No. They are already a senator. They want to be the consul. My God, memory. And it also explores, well, as I've just said, all the people from Mars are non-binary in gender expression, I would say. And so it explores that, it explores the politics of immigration and refugees and all of those things, and it's done in such a subtle, interesting way. I think I've said it before because I've read this book before, so but Natasha Pulley does very well in exploring these controversial subjects in a way that she doesn't like beat you over the head with her opinions. She lets you explore your own things, and yeah, I love it. This was again 5 stars. Loved it. Then I read a book that changed my life a bit. I read The Anxious Generation by Jonathan Haidt. I'm not really sure how to pronounce his last name. This is a non-fiction book about how social media and cell phones are ruining our lives, especially for teenagers, and Gen Z in particular. Well, from Gen Z downwards, which are my students. So I read this and was horrified. This man presents like evidence, like studies and statistics that really makes you consider the fact that social media and mental health decline are definitely intertwined. And yes, it really did change. It changed my life. It made me think about my own cell phone use and my social media use. I had been thinking about that for a while. Like I had already restricted my Instagram use to like 5 minutes a day. But it made me like go over all the notifications that I get and just get rid of like superfluous notifications, and to really like be more conscious about the time I spend online, especially on my phone. So yes, and it has given me ideas for how to work with my students about these topics and how to talk to parents maybe. So definitely life-changing. I got the physical copy and tabbed it with like important parts. So yes, I want to give this book to everyone. I think everyone should read it. And yeah, 5 stars. Amazing. Okay, then in February, we're already in February, I started the end of January, I think, I read The Overstory by Richard Powers. Again, kind of life-changing. I think I gave this one 4.5 stars because there's some parts in the middle that kind of drag a bit. But it's such a fascinating concept, and the way, the structure and everything, the way it's told, it's amazing. The writing is just beautiful. This book is about trees, but it also follows different characters. Like, I think it's 8. I think it's like 8 characters throughout their lives, and they eventually like intersect. And it's set mostly in the 90s, which I found super interesting. I think it gets closer to like our time. And yeah, it was, I don't know, it's very difficult to explain, but I really, really enjoy this one. I think it's really important. And it made me appreciate trees a bit more, I guess. I don't know. Okay, then I read We Solve Murders by Richard Osman. I'll put the cover up here. This is his new series, We Solve Murders. I think that's the name of the series too. Can't remember. It follows different characters from his original series, The Thursday Murder Club, of course. It's kind of more thrillery, I guess, more than mystery. I mean, there is a mystery, but it's more thriller-ish, I guess. But the humor is still there. The characters are all lovable anyway. And yes, we follow this woman who works for like a security company, like being a bodyguard for rich people, basically. And she gets involved in this, she has had clients or people connected to her company die recently. And well, she gets involved in that, and she involves her father-in-law, who used to be a police officer and now, or like a detective in England. And well, now he's retired, but she involves him in that. And it's great. We follow kind of different perspectives, and you're not really always sure what's going on. It had a little twist. I gave this one 4.5 stars. No, I gave it 5 stars. Yeah, it was so much fun. That's why. There is like a little quibble I might have with like the ending, but it was so much fun that I gave it 5 stars because I really enjoyed it. It made me really happy. So yes, always gonna be reading Richard Osman, and there's a new Thursday Murder Club coming out this year, so I'm super excited. Okay, and finally I read The Book of Doors by Gareth Brown. I have the picture up here. I gave this one 4.5 stars, and I really enjoyed it. actually considered DNFing this book at some point. I can't remember when, but I actually considered DNFing, and I am glad I didn't. It kind of put me in a slump a bit some days, because I couldn't see like where the story was going, and there were some elements of the storytelling that I didn't particularly appreciate at first. Like there was a bit of like, I don't even know what to call it, like a lot of exposition, but like characters telling another character their backstory, and I don't always like that. But it all made sense in the end. It basically follows this woman who one day is given a book, the Book of Doors, which when she opens the door and she's holding that book, she can go anywhere she wants, like if she's thinking of that door, wherever. And well, it just opens up a whole world for her in which there are other books that do other things, and there's bad people who want the books, and there's good people who are trying to protect the books, and yeah. It's a really fun adventure kind of thing, and at some point the story becomes kind of cyclical, I don't know. And yeah, it's a book about books, and I really enjoyed it, and yeah, 4.5 stars, really good. Okay, and then I read one of my most anticipated books for this year alone, and that is another Natasha Pulley book. This is The Hymn to Dionysus, or Dionysus? I don't know. There's a part in this book where they talk about the pronunciation of the name. Like, most people now call it Dionysus, but I'm pretty sure it's not supposed to be Dionysus. But anyway, I think it's supposed to be more like we pronounce it in Spanish. Dionysius? I don't know. I'm just rambling at this point. I got this one in a soft cover, like paperback, and I am not happy about it. I know that at some point I will be buying the hardback because, yes, I have most of Natasha Pulley's books in hardback, and I know it's going to be beautiful. This doesn't have the gold foiling. This must be amazing with the whole gold foiling. But anyway, back to this book. This is a myth retelling. It's the first by Natasha Pulley. Greek, obviously, historical fiction, and it's based all around the myth of Dionysus. And we follow Phaedros. Again, I don't listen to audiobooks, so I don't know if that's the way you pronounce the name. That's the way I said it in my head. It could be Phaedros. I'm going to say Phaedros because it sounds more Greek, I guess, in my mind. And he is a soldier. And when he is a child, he has to leave a baby in one of the temples. And then while his life is intertwined with that child's life forever, the child appears, well, as a man, obviously, as he grows up in different times of his life. And yeah, we follow his life back in Thebes. And yeah, it mixes like the War of Troy, like what is told in the Iliad, with the myth of Dionysus. And I can't really explain. I don't know how to explain this book. I'm constantly thinking about this book ever since I finished it. 10 days ago? Yes, I haven't stopped thinking about it. I know it's going to take less than a year for me to reread it. This book is my personality now. Like, that's the whole thing. Yes, it's beautiful. It has like a queer love story in the middle, but it's not really the point. It's just, it's about how you live your life, basically, and how you should embrace a little bit of chaos, as Dionysus says. Anyway, I love it. I would recommend this to everyone. It is kind of, you spend most of the book not knowing what the hell is going on, and I love that. Like I said about Natasha Pulley's writing before, it really makes you work for it, and like just go with the flow and trust that things will be explained, and they are. And it's just, I could rave about this forever. I love it. Okay, I'm done raving. Oh, I moved the tripod. Anyway, the last book I finished in March is If Found, Return to Hell by M.X. Liu. I did say that I was going to read this in my TBR for March. In case you couldn't tell, these are the only 2 books I read in March. So I read 3 in January, 3 in February, and now 2 in March. Yeah, again, it hasn't been a good month. If Found, Return to Hell is a novella about a wizard who works for some sort of health company. Like, he works the phones in that company. Like he is like the, I don't know, as if he was the first responder kind of thing, and people call with their problems, and he passes them on to higher levels of the company. And did I say health? It's more like, yeah, dealing with magic kind of things, like solutions for magical problems or whatever. And one day he receives a call from this young man who apparently is possessed. And yeah, it has one of my favorite tropes, which is important because I will be talking about this later, which is found family. And it's funny and kind of heartwarming and short. And I really loved it. I read it in one sitting. Really fun. 5 stars. So that is March so far. That is the year so far, actually. My average rating has been between 4, I think closer to a 5 star. I have 2 4.5 stars. So I'm really pleased with that, even though I haven't read as much as I thought I was going to. I'm trying to get back into my mojo. I am currently reading 2 books. One that I started for Roll of Reads, which was another Natasha Pulley book, which wasn't the plan, but it was the one I got in my book battle prompt. So I was reading the Bedlam Stacks, which is in the living room. I'm not going to get up and get it because Shuri is in my lap, my little cat. So yes, I am currently 100 pages into that, and yeah, I was reading that, and then this arrived, so I had to read this, and well, things happened. I will finish it at some point, but it's not a priority, I think, because it is a reread. Did I say that? Anyway, I'm rereading The Bedlam Stacks, which is one of her first books, and it's the only one I hadn't reread yet by Natasha Pulley. And then I actually just now started another book that is for one of the things I'm doing in April. So in April, I am participating in Kim's and Amy's and their mom's TBR game. I think they're calling it TBR Trail The Quest, if I remember correctly now. And it's team-based, so it's Kim and her mom, Julie, against Amy from A-Star Reads. I haven't said any names. Okay, it's Kim from Expedition Through Pages and her mom, Julie, and Amy from A-Star Reads and her mom, Sharon. Both my favorite mother-daughter duos on YouTube, on BookTube at least. I adore watching any videos where they both appear. Like, it's all great. And so I am on Kim's team, and so each team gets different prompts, and yes, there's many board games involved. I'm in awe of all the work that they put into that because it's amazing. But anyway, there are 6 prompts for this month, which I am going to get my laptop and read to you because I do not remember, but hold on. Okay, so in no particular order, for TBR Trail, The Quest, we had to read. We had a social scroll prompt, so we had to scroll through Instagram, Goodreads, whatever. I did it through Goodreads because my Instagram has no bookish people. And the first book I got that I will be reading in April is Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. Like, it was obvious that book was going to appear because everyone was reading it. So yes, Sunrise on the Reaping, Suzanne Collins, Hunger Games. Everyone knows what it's about. I am so excited to read it. I have avoided spoilers, although I kind of know what happens because it's a prequel, but still. I'm waiting on my sister to read it because when we got the Hunger Games books trilogy back in like the 2010s, I don't remember when they first came out, but the year they were all there, I got them and I binged them in one weekend, and I did not tell my sister, and she got very upset that I read them without her. Previously, we had read all the Twilight books together, like literally together. So yeah, I think that's why she got upset. So I said that this time we could read it together. So yes, I'm waiting on her. So that's one. Then there's lowest rated book, which I wasn't so happy about, but then I saw that one of my lowest rated books is a book called The Doloriad by, I think it's Tennessee Williams. Hold on. Let me see. Missouri Williams. It was another US state, sorry. Missouri Williams. It currently sits at, hold on, 3.12. But my best friend read it and she loved it, and I trust her judgment. It's 240 pages long, which is great, and I think it's a dystopian kind of thing, kind of weird, and upsetting, probably, from what my friend told me. I have not read the synopsis. I just remember what my friend told me. Like, it was a weird book that we should both read. So I think I'm going to read that one. Hopefully I can get to it. Then we have Library Inspired. That's the other book I'm reading. I chose The Book That Wouldn't Burn by Mark Lawrence. Again, put the picture up here. And then I saw that Kim is also reading that for that prompt. So yes, we're kind of buddy reading it together, hopefully. I'm 10% in. I'm very confused. I don't know what it is about. I don't know what it's about because I did not read the synopsis and I haven't read enough to tell you what it is about, but it's a book about books. There's a library and dystopian kind of thing, fantasy thing. That's really all I can tell you so far, but I am enjoying it. I'm very confused but intrigued. Then we had to read a romance, but the author's surname had to begin with M, and for that I'm going to be reading, or actually rereading, hold on. Oh, sorry, Julie. I'm going to be rereading A Marvelous Light by Freya Marsk. I recently got the physical copies of these. But yes, this is fantasy romance technically, and it's between Edwin and Robin. I'm so upset with these dogs. I'm so sorry. I mean, don't get me wrong, I appreciate dogs. I just don't like them when they are scream barking. I have the windows closed. Anyway, it's fantasy and there's a romance and I'm counting it. And yes, it's not that long. I actually thought it was a bit longer. Well, it's almost 400 pages. It is a bit long. But it reads really fast, and I read this now like 3 years ago, I think, so will be good. What else do I got? Oh, the last thing. Oh no, that's the other. There was a book that I already finished, and that was fantasy, and we had to have our favorite trope. And for that, I read A Found Return to Hell, like at the end of March, so it counted because that is when the game is being played, like from when there was the live show, which was March 23rd to April 23rd. So I read that one. It has my favorite trope, which is fun family. Like, well, that's one of my favorite tropes. I think everyone's favorite trope. But yes, I already had that. And then the last book was the group book. And we chose All Systems Red by Martha Wells, which is the first in the Murderbot Diaries series. And I have already read the first 5 books, but we decided, the other team let us, that if we had already read the book and we didn't want to reread it, we can continue on with the series. So I'm reading book 6, which is technically 5, but I already read 5. I read them in publication order, but technically, or the other way around, I don't know. I was supposed to read Fugitive Telemetry first, before book 5, which is Network Effect, if I remember correctly. Never mind. This is a novella. This is back to novellas, because the previous book was a full-length book. And I enjoyed it, but not as much as the novellas. So I'm looking forward to going back into the Murderbot thing. I really, really love Murderbot and its sarcasm and murderous tendencies, but also just wants to be left to chill on its own. So yes, that is it for TBR, the quest. TBR Trail, the quest. I did it. And then I have, like everyone does, the Aurelium Magical Academy spring semester TBR. I am changing my major, I'm changing my calling, that's what they're called, into one of the new ones, because I am not reading as much, and I thought that it would be easier to just read 3, just commit to 3 this time. So I'm doing the Tonebinder calling, which I found really interesting. And so I have to read for Art of Illusion, something that I already planned on reading. So I am going to choose any of the books I just said for that. Any of them will count, I suppose. Then I had to read a book which had a word from the last book title that I read. And when I made this list, I had just finished The Found Return to Hell. So I might go with something related to that, or I might wait to do this prompt until I finish something that gives me better words, because there wasn't really much that I could read. I could read The Foundling by Stacey Halls, I think is the author's name, which is historical fiction, but I'm not really sure I want to read that. I was thinking now that I could read something with The Book That Wouldn't Burn. There must be something good with that. Maybe another book about books. I'm going to have to see. There's definitely not something with fugitive telemetry, though. That's or the laureate. I chose some very specific words, like sunrise on the reaping. Like, I'm not going to find another book with that. But anyway, if all else fails, I'll just go with and that's it. And then this is the thing that I have to do now. For inscription, oh sorry, that before was for spells and incantations. I'm all over the place. The last book I have to read is for inscription, and that is first sentence from, I have to choose 3 books, read the first sentence, and choose from there. So I forgot to get my Kindle. I have to get my Kindle, and I will tell you the books that I'm going to read, and I'm going to read the first sentence to you, and then that will be it for this video. Hold on. Okay, so the first book is Paladin's Grace by T.K. Fisher. This is the start of a series that is like a cozy fantasy kind of thing. I don't know, I've loved everything I've read by T.K. Fisher, so I'm excited. I've been excited to start this series. So here we go. Contents. 1. Stephen's god died a little after noon on the longest day of the year. That is pretty good. I just remembered what this series is about, actually. It's about people who follow a god or defend a god or something, and then when the god dies, what happens? So that's not a bad start. Okay, the other one is The Measure by Nikki Ehrlich. This is a science fiction book, kind of dystopian, where people receive a box that tells them when they're going to die or something, and then I assume chaos ensues. But I've heard really good things about it, so let's see if that intrigues me more. I think we should start with a prologue, right? Prologue. It was difficult to imagine a time before them, a world in which they hadn't come. That's pretty interesting. It gives you the idea of who is they, I guess. Aliens? Maybe? Interesting. I like that. Between those two, I don't know which one I prefer. Okay, and then I have The Whispering Muse by Laura Purcell. I've been meaning to read this for so long. I really enjoyed the first book I read by Laura Purcell. It's kind of like gothic mystery, historical fiction kind of thing. So yes, let's see this one. It has a quote from Macbeth at the beginning. Okay, chapter 1. The offer was too good to be true. Okay, that doesn't really give me much. Okay, so I think it's between The Measure and Paladin's Grace. Which one sounds better? That's... I think I might go for Paladin's Grace. I am intrigued about the concept of like someone's god dying and then what happens, I think. Yeah, let's go for that. Let's go for Paladin's Grace by T.K. Fisher. And that's it. That is my TBR. It's a lot of books. I just said to you that I've been reading 3 at most books per month. And yeah, it's April 1st. I am in the middle of 2 books, one of them which I'm just leaving in the back burner to pick up when I want, I guess, which is the Bedlam Stacks. And The Book That Wouldn't Burn is not a short book. I just remember that. It's not really a short book. But it's fine. It's fine. How long is it? Hold on. It's 560 pages. Okay, I can do it. I just need to get back into my mojo. I always say that March is a kind of difficult month for me because it's when I go back to school, well, as a teacher, and I have to get used to new routines and new students, and there's always like a lot of things to do. And since I was sick all March, I feel like I've been just playing catch up, basically. So I think that maybe now I can get into the groove of things. I also have a week of holidays because of Easter, what we call here Tourism Week. That's not this week or the next week, the other week, the week of the 14th. So I could get a bunch of reading done there. Then I can't speak, you know. That's it for this video. Let me know if you have read any of the books I mentioned, if I've convinced you to read anything by Natasha Puli, because that would be very nice for me. And if you're participating in any of the readathons I mentioned, I did not say that the Aurelium spring equinox kind of thing is hosted by G from Book Roast, but it will all be linked. All the people I mentioned and videos and things will be linked in the description so that you can go check them out. But again, let me know if you're participating in any of those things. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a like if you did, and subscribe to see what else I managed to do this month. I do have a book haul to film, which I am going to do now before I lose steam. I will be wearing the same clothes. I am not changing, and you will probably see these videos back to back, and I don't care. And I also have to film my 40 by 40 because I put up a poll a month ago with what videos people wanted to see, and several people said that they wanted to see my 40 by 40 list, which I've been curating for like 2 years, and I'm getting closer to 40 and I haven't made much progress. I have made some progress, but I haven't actually published it anywhere, so I would like to do that. And yeah, that's it. I'll see you in the next one. Bye, happy reading.